Looks like also live.
Pick this up. All right, well, I'll just kick off the October 17th meeting of the Victor Conservation Board. We have one item on the agenda today. The Elias Soil Stabilization Project. And we have minutes to approve afterwards. So you want to give us a rundown of your application?
Yeah. So the first thing is there was been a lot of work going on the property. Pool installation, as you can see in some of the photos. And in order to get that pool where we wanted it, we had to move some dirt. So basically, there's some before photos there and then after photos. So with some virgin soil laying around and a very intense rainstorm on August 27th. Some of the dirt came down the southeast side of the property. So north is to the top left on the screen. And it went across the south side of the downhill neighbor's property all the way across. And left soil sedimentation on the south side of the property with the grass. So they contacted the town, and then town came over, took some of those photos, the before photos. And we discussed some remediation, things that need to take place, like some emergency protocol. And this was kind of word of mouth. I had a professional from the company that deals with this stuff come over and give me some advice. Nothing was really documented. We kind of just went through and added a bunch of stuff, planted, got some vegetation going, put in some silk fencing. Then since then, I've hired Scott Harder to come up with site civil plans, document what I've done, and also get a topography completed on the property, go along with the LiDAR schemes that were in the town's possession from 2019. So this represents the topography that was completed about a month ago. And remediation effects that you see in the photos as well. Describe some of them in some of that text that you can't read, but I've also added the hydro seeding in some areas just of last week. Some of the straw matting on some of the pretty steep hillsides. Kind of stabilize that soil. And some drainage around the garage.
These are all the remediation photos.
Those ones, yep.
Right, so that's the south side of the house. Yep. Neighbors are down this way. It's your drainage. We added that, yep, and intent was to pick up some of the roof drain on the new garage addition, and then this is the stuff that is pretty steep behind the garage that we put. There's the.
So your downspouts into the ground?
This one just went, it goes right across right now and drains into this, which comes down that side of the. That's good. Driveway. I got this, so you kind of handcrafted these and staked them in the ground. On just one side of the driveway.
Yes.
Well, this is naturally where the water needs to go. Ever since I moved in, that would be the south, or actually the north side of the driveway.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, the south side, closest to the major portion of the woods.
Those all come out, though. Down.
Well. I don't, well, there was this. Let's see. Oh, this was a before photo, so this happened, which was kind of strange to me. Kind of caved in up high. Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah, that's,
So that was kind of strange to me, but you know, what, since then, we've obviously taken care of it, compacted it in, hopefully. And that has new vegetation on it with the matting just in this area here, so you can, down here, there's no matting here, we just wanted to get vegetation and add silk fences, but
who put the pool on?
Was this area here, this still during the pool installation?
yep.
It was the still,
Yes.
okay.
Who did all the pool and site work?
So Design Pool and Spa was the pool company, and then the site work was Outdoor Solutions.
Okay.
Of Macedon.
Okay. Did you contact them by chance?
Before or after the flood?
After.
So we tried, they thought that the property was getting a little bit too complicated, and they kind of ran away from it, so we had to hire and actually another contractor that actually, this is his equipment here, that has done everything, since the flood event. So this hill was really, I mean, it was probably this high out to the street. And we dug all this out and moved it. And then planted grass and then silk fenced it. And the meshing. And it's not a jute mesh, it's just a straw and a plastic. Like a fishnet type of thing. It's right here. It's this stuff. It's got straw built into it.
Yeah.
So, the only place that doesn't have grass or vegetation right now is right behind the garage, which is in that photo, but this was sprayed, 8 days ago.
Okay.
Try to get it in before it, grow.
Something's right now.
Right, just try to get something going. So I'm playing ball with, everything I can do. And Scott is my engineer, Scott Harder. He's, giving me advice as well.
I'd say that's the best. That's probably your best course of action, is to have someone take a look at the holistic project, for the whole system.
Right.
Plot it out. What do you want to do?
So with the photography, so I think there's some more comments we're waiting on. I've received 2 batches of comments already so far.
So are you looking to do more than what you've done, or just sort of, hey, here's what we're doing? Do you have any thoughts on
Right.
recommendations or?
A little two things here. So I'm trying to get this blessed, what I've already done. And the other part of this is I don't plan on disturbing this anymore. I definitely don't want to mess with Mother Nature anymore. But around the garage, so a future project is going to be more soil removal. But it's fine. Okay, so this has been building up for some time. This is on the east side of the garage. This was started probably in the spring, the excavation for the modifications of this hill and all that stuff, and into before winter last year of 22. And problem is, in the springtime, I had this great idea to add this boulder wall. So you can kind of see down here in the pictures.
Kind of retaining wall.
That one, correct. So I got those boulders in, I'd say March or April of this year. They sat in my driveway for approximately 2.5 months before the contractor would even come back to put them in. So in the meantime, I couldn't add vegetation here because we had to actually move this hill back a little bit more and then add the boulder wall. So I was kind of stuck in a spot where I couldn't really do anything except watch the silt come downhill.
So it'd come down to the.
It was going that way.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So then you see built up in this picture here,
That's probably 20 inches of silt that's been accumulated.
And it's all inside the garage?
Right, on all three sides. Well, actually just two sides. One side isn't that bad. This side is bad, that side's bad, this side over here is pretty good. This was permitted and installed in addition, I think it just finished at the winter of 23. So that's all new metal and I don't want it to rust, so what I want to do is dig out the three sides of that garage. That would be a future project.
Do you have, you don't have a conservation, do you, on your property?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't. We wouldn't have been made aware.
When you excavate that, are you gonna put back any backfill, and what are you doing on these sides here?
We're gonna try to squeak by and we're not gonna touch this because there's a power pole right over here. There it is there. We don't want to touch that, so. I'm not clear on what we're gonna put back in there. We might even consider another boulder wall like in the picture here. These types of rocks, just kind of do it 2 rocks tall, just kind of
What's the,
around the perimeter.
Scott would say, or your engineer would say?
So Scott says the best thing that I could do today is to make an attempt to get vegetation on the hill.
Yeah. Oh,
So-
100% agree.
So I think I've covered all the dirt. It's covered, I mean, except for, there's a couple spots here that just didn't get sprayed, but I guess he's unclear on what I should do. He was thinking put a wall around the garage to help it from.
Was there any recommendation for using Gideon baskets?
Yes, one of them was, that was actually right, that was gonna be right here. This is, you can drive up here and around. There's like a trail. You can see it's that site plan probably a little bit better, but the Gideon baskets were thinking about going there. He really wasn't sure, but it would cut off kind of my usage. I wouldn't be able to go up and around, which is what my goal was to do. Basically drive up here. There's a trail that I could drive up. There's a plateau there that we flattened off. You can kind of see it there. Yeah, so the goal was to be able to get up onto the top of the hill, right? I need to be able to drive something up there. So like right now I can drive up and around like this and come around and then come up and get up into here. So I own this property over here too. There's a lot of trails and stuff that I like to use. There's 4-wheeler trails down here. They go all the way around pretty much. So that was the ultimate goal, is to do that. But if we did those baskets, then it's going to cut off my access, you know. So I'd rather not do that. So first thing I tried doing is just, I know I can do those at any time, right?
Mhm.
So first thing I wanted to do is get vegetation on the hill and see what happens. You know, that was kind of my plan. That was Scott's idea. Do everything you can now. So I feel like I've done almost everything I can besides add more silt fences or more boulder walls or those Gideon baskets. So I wanted to see, I wanted to present this to see what people's thoughts were, get comments from other engineers. I think Lavelle is looking at this. You guys are looking at it.
You can consider, because the Gideon baskets all or none, but you can do a combination of different retainers. Hopefully it will add some aesthetics to the property at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the natural veg is actually going to be the best one, the easiest on the eyes.
Right.
Begin with.
Right.
But at the same time, it may not be, so it depends on where you may have the highest risk of disturbance or flow. You put your strongest retention there.
Sure.
And in the lesser areas, you use vegetation only.
Right.
So that you have that combination. You don't have to do all. But again, unless
Yeah,
you walk this side, you can.
Right. I understand that. I just remember that the silt in some of those photos have been accumulating for on unvegetated dirt. We've been looking at this hill. This has been all dirt all year this year. And there's been rivers of dirt, and yeah, we put in a couple silt fences, but it still gets through. They're only good for so long, or you gotta move them, whatever, so. You know, I didn't want to change contractors at the time. I just thought that would be more, you know, introducing a new contractor would. Not sure how they would go. You know, so I kept my patience, and I'm like, hey, let's just keep these guys here. They'll be back. They didn't show up. The dirt kept coming. Garage kept getting buried. Eventually it blew over right here and went across the driveway. On that night of the storm, so that's never happened. That was the first time that happened, but then you can see pictures, the driveway, this was starting to get covered. Dirt, like a half an inch of dirt just sitting in the driveway. There's a photo of it. So it was starting to get a little bit worse, but and also I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I don't want to worry about dirt anymore.
You're over it.
It's terrible. It's, you know, I just want it to go where it's supposed to go or stay put, and I just want to get it over with because I'm tired of not sleeping. I'm tired of worrying about the rain. I don't want to deal with it anymore. So I'm doing everything I can now to try to get some growth, see what happens. And then maybe next year there's an opportunity or something after the winter to see if we need to do something else, or maybe we wait to see what Labella says, or.
And then when throwing drainage ideas out. Obviously, you're starting to do some here. I saw a couple others there. But there's probably some probably clever designs you can probably put in. I'm thinking to divert a waterway. You're never gonna get it all away from that. It's all gonna want to try to get down the hill. But
So there's drainage installed on this side of under here, right there on this side of the wall. That actually drains down here, which is by the garage, which is somewhat bad news. But there's drainage under here that was installed all the way around the garage, but it was, I guess we didn't foresee all the silt.
yeah,
So it is non-wrapped pipe.
yeah.
So it's totally compromised right now. This was full of,
Yeah.
this had rip wrap in it all the way around, the big 3-inch stone. You can't even see it. I mean, that's 20 inches of silt.
Yeah. But
So
if you
when-
can stop the water from coming, you'll probably solve that problem. You know,
Right.
if you can somehow slow water, I'm not gonna stop it, don't water stop it. It's gonna do what it's gonna do, and it wants to get to this point, which is there.
Right.
But if you can divert it,
Yeah,
slow that water down.
well, I have noticed that the vegetation does slow it down. I don't see.
Oh, definitely.
I don't see the rivers. I mean, there's gouges of dirt rivers.
It's eroding, right? Yeah, if you can
coming.
even this stuff here would slow it. you know,
Yeah,
that-
right, exactly. So.
So I think you're doing the right thing, at least in my opinion, that you're doing the right thing of putting the station down. You don't take that, but. Anywhere you can slow it down.
Yep.
That's.
Yep.
That's gonna,
There's 4 of these on that side of the driveway right now, all staked down.
yeah, that'll help your swell there,
Yeah.
you know, gouge that out terribly.
Right, yeah, because we don't want this to fill up. You see it is.
Yeah.
There's still some silt there, but I mean, this is down a good 6 inches from the driveway, so it's not overflowing here. It did overflow lower in a lower area down 3/4 way down the driveway. That was dug out. I dug that out, added riprap. It's not a photo, but
This is bad.
yeah, I can't begin to explain that. That was incredible. That was after the storm.
And how long after, this was right after they put it in, right?
That was sitting there a while. That was probably there a good month.
Oh, but not it, that's still pretty virgin.
Right. So then what happened here was, so we attempted to put that silt fence there,
Yeah,
and it actually blew through it here and went this way.
Yeah.
And buried all the mechanical equipment here.
yeah,
And then that went down
the hill to behind the garage and made another river. So this stuff here didn't help anything. This was kind of like a new introduction of more sill. The rest was just pretty common flow, but that was overbearing.
You never had any issues before the whole pool and all the dirt movement, before water just ran across the property and that was it? Pretty simple.
So
You've been there for a while and had some big rains.
I've been there 3 years.
Mhm.
I think there was an issue before, and what started all this is actually the addition to this garage here. So there's an existing 2-car garage. And the 3 walls around the garage, 1, 2, 3, were 6 to 8 foot. And they were covered in dirt, fully buried. And so one side of the garage, the northwest wall was starting to push in and cave in.
Whoa.
So I recognized that. I knew that when I bought the house, and the inspector caught it and they said, you gotta look at this. The wall's like, it's moved 2 inches. You're gonna have a problem with this. So I'm like, okay. So I hired a contractor to re-support from the inside of the garage with new studs, 2x6 studs. And then also I hired the contractor that started my relationship with the contractor that did the pool to dig out the existing garage on all 3 sides and get the dirt out of there, to stop pushing pressure on the walls to try to save the garage, right? So then I thought, well, hey, I'm taking out all this dirt. Why don't I got some extra money. Why don't I just add another 3rd bay to the garage? So, okay, the guy came back. We pushed a little more dirt and everything was good. So I think that was accumulating before. Trying to find pictures of that, but it was over my head, the dirt. So I had to do something about it, and then it just started evolving, and I started reviewing all these new ideas, and I started creating problems, I guess. But so then we had a little bit more money, and we thought we should have a great idea and put in a pool, you know, and then at the bottom of a hill. So, you know, there's a lot of people are like, why would you do that? And then there's a lot of people that are like, well, there's a lot of terrain that's uneven. There's a lot of hills out there that people don't even know about. We build on hills all the time, but nothing's ever really level. So you're always really building on hills, but we're digging into hills. It's just this one, I gotta blame a little bit of it on coincidence and bad timing. It's just a real bad storm.
On the upside of your property, like you say, you also, what's that? What is the soil type up there like? So it's very sand.
Sand and clay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
There is clay, yep, but there is also
Part of that
sand.
means that none of the water stays, everything comes down. So that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm aware. There's gotta be something in there that holds nutrients though, 'cause it's growing pretty good. I don't know, I mean, that's pretty much it. We have lots of projects. We had a disaster and now we have remediation.
So your request from us tonight is to bless what you've done so far. And
Right, and add commentary, any other ideas, I think there's some other people reviewing it. I may not understand that correctly, but
so to summarize what you've done. Put in some curtains. You've attempted to put in grass, which is in progress. You put in some retaining walls around the pool. And you intend to excavate around the garage.
next
For
year,
now,
that's
next
down the
year.
road. I wanna see what happens with this vegetation, right? And almost just watch it.
What is the risk? What do you foresee the risk of if let's say the vegetation doesn't look as you expect it to? What is the further risk to your property?
Well,
Bears Garage.
well. That would, I mean, I would certainly see that happening more. I see it now. It's a long way to go, but. Yes, that would be a risk. Fortunately, I don't have any property in the addition to the garage at the moment. It's totally empty and I would really love to use my garage that I built and added onto, but the floor is all mud. Silt went underneath the wall and filled the inside of the garage that I added to. So I can't even use it. So there's nothing even in there. So it would have to go through that. And it would eventually hit the original block wall, 2-car garage. So I added up. I mean, can I draw? I mean, sure. Just basically you got an existing garage. Oh man, I had markers.
I haven't used in a while, so I don't know if there's better
So-
ones or not.
That's all right. 2-car garage existing. This is CMU wall. So block wall. So the addition was like a letter L. So then here's the third. Right, 1, 2, 3. So all this is basically unusable at the moment. This is the backside. This is the pool up in here. The house. So the risk is these walls, the metal siding is going to rust eventually. Nothing valuable in here. I mean, I doubt these structural supports are really going to be compromised. They're made out of pressure treated wood. They're concrete.
But isn't there pressure on the back there also?
Yep, there is. Yeah, there's gonna be pressure this way, the least amount. This is the best wall out of the 3, right? There's not as much pressure over here. There's not even down around here. It's actually dry right here. And then it's wet back here, so it's kind of, there's no dirt buildup here. There's very few inches here. So this side is in really good shape. It's just this one and this one, really. And this side isn't bad here in this area up here. And then that's out, that pole is right there. So it's just basically here.
So
Here.
the first 2-car garage is original structure,
Yeah,
cinder blocks,
this is CMU cinder blocks. This is
and the extension,
The back and
the
side.
back.
This is not CMU. This is all just wood framing. And then concrete full bases.
If you have Mother Nature pushing against that,
Right.
then
Yep.
just your conventional construction will not be able to withstand that force.
If.
I'm just
Yeah.
using logic, but it may not necessarily be that way.
Right, I can calculate that, right?
Right.
I mean, how much taller do I need 6 feet of dirt back here to be able to blow through that? I don't know. I got 10 to 20 inches right now.
Has anyone proposed benching it for you?
Benching.
Yes. So instead of making it a steep slope, we just bench it
Ah, right.
to reduce the flow.
We have we have done that with the bigger hill.
Yeah.
Right, see, I just didn't wanna, this was part of the problem. I was trying to do all these remediation things right away, basically on my own without approval. Just tried to do it because that's what everybody was telling me to do. The town was telling me to do it.
Is the planning board asking for anything here? Do we know?
They're getting that, they got it, they got all this stuff.
But are they approving or? So they're approving a site plan. Is that what they're approving?
Yeah, so I have to go to their meeting either, what is it, next week, if they can fit me in, or the November one.
Yeah.
So given that, I didn't want to show up and say, hey, I haven't done anything.
Sure.
So now I have this window to do something. So I'm trying to do something.
But they're gonna look for a site plan though,
That's what I
right?
think.
That's what they're.
We got it. That's what.
Okay.
What is the bench?
It's not a great picture, but you can see it.
Yeah, but I was thinking more by where the forces by the garage.
Yeah, like you're saying, put it
Yeah.
on here
Yeah.
or something, you
I
know.
was saying reduce it there.
Well, this helps go down the pool, but yeah, you still got the pretty steep slope.
Because right now I think this
Secondary.
concern is the rest of the garage and the around the area. Because this seems to be relatively under control. That's the new risk that has to be considering. So that's what I was saying. Here, but you already put the grass and stuff.
I
We're still
know,
hoping to see.
so that would be a waste, so I was trying to kind of struggling with that in the last few weeks, like, should I throw this down and spend money? And see if it works, or is somebody else
It's gonna
gonna
be grass, we can see like you said.
or
Yeah, it's worth it. I'd say it's your point. It's your best gain right now for a little effort.
sorry, I'm just, so I was worried that somebody might look at this and be like, you gotta tear all, you gotta remove all this dirt. You know, it's like, okay, then I'm
I
leaving.
think this.
I'm not walking from
That seems
that.
like a good, I mean, what you got here, because you're not gonna get, it's gonna slow it going into this pool. And it's gonna divert things off to the side, which is good. I mean, over there, yeah. I would say leave your grass there and see what happens in the spring. And in the summer and.
Work with the engineer.
Yeah,
I mean, having Scott involved is.
yeah, I think that's your number one right there.
He was telling me, you need to show up doing something. Rather than nothing, and this is.
It's a better picture.
Well, you're definitely doing something.
Yeah.
I think you're doing exactly what anyone would do. I think that's the right thing, get vegetation on there. Yeah, that's the better picture.
Yeah, so here you can see, so I think
Oh, right.
you've addressed it properly here. But I think we have enough.
Yep.
Things here.
So this also is great because it's got some black fabric behind it that's like plastic. That nothing gets through that
Here, the geomesh,
on the other side.
Yeah.
It's a different.
On the back side.
Yeah. It's almost solid. I think it lets some water through, but
it lets water through, but it's wicked solid.
yeah,
It's not gonna
you
go.
can't see through it. Right.
That
Like this
wall
stuff,
is good.
you can see through this stuff, but
Yeah, the geomesh is.
So the neighbor that had some runoff. Where
I didn't even talk about them. I don't know what was their property, but we walked it. I paid for their lawn guy to address the issues.
is there much risk for that recurring?
The risk would start from here in this photo, so.
What is it?
Yeah,
So
maybe
he's been-
Susie, do you mind?
We probably should need the site plan, so I can tell you where the water went.
Yeah, you're getting some runoff from our neighbors' property?
His is running.
No, his is running today.
Right, so we have. Right about here is one of those. That was a lot of virgin material. That was left over from the pool. So we had all that coincidence, blah, 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 but it came down all the way this way. Basically came down through the woods here and ran all the way across the property about right here. But this was there was a ton of water that went through here. There was silt deposit left over, so there was probably it almost looked like a four-wheeler went through and you just saw a line of mud. You know, but then all around that, the grass was all mowed over, like it was bent over from a lot of water flow. So
it's slowed down.
There was just, and that was just because there's so much water. I mean, it was just a bad storm, you know, and I'm willing to bet that the water flows here naturally somewhat when there's enough water, but I introduced silt, right? Because that came down through here, it came down the hill, but the only risk to the neighbors is this hill here. This hill here and this garage is another problem.
Yeah,
So these neighbors here are only concerned about this.
in that area. You've hydro seeded or? what?
Yeah,
Okay.
that has the straw mats down as well as,
Okay, so that's.
that would be that photo here. That's this one. And silt fencing. And some straw bales too.
But that was all the spoils from your pool.
Right.
I'd say one, It spoils from the pools out there.
Right.
Well, we
It's-
removed a lot.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not sitting there anymore.
No.
It
It was, it's probably forced.
That's a one-time event.
Yeah, along with the one time, you know,
Well,
20-year ring.
Got myself a
well,
video
no,
here.
it's my first,
True.
5 years, so.
But the open source is gone.
You didn't disturb that. Other than putting the spoils down, so now it's as it was 5 years ago and
So
4 years before
over
that.
the last 2 months, I've paid for somebody to come in and destroy my existing property to back in the trucks to remove the dirt, to take away the problem. There you go.
Okay.
So that's been paid for, the vegetation's down, the straw mats are down, the silt fences are still there.
Your neighbor, okay, he's happy now?
He is, yeah, actually dropped off a bunch of vegetables the other night, so. Excellent, so I think they're okay, the neighbors, if it happens again, I would
Yeah.
highly doubt it.
I would highly doubt it too.
Yes.
But there's no way to calculate that. I mean, anything can happen if we have
Sure. Water.
enough water, but God, I don't know, that was a lot of water.
So it sounds like disturbance to the neighbor is probably pretty minimal at this point.
I would bet on that, yeah, and I don't bet. So,
And then the area directly affecting your property.
yeah,
We have the new vegetation.
this is I feel this is the risk at the moment, the garage. I don't think the pool's at risk.
Yeah, I think you got that one. And you got it pretty well. With that retaining wall and the terracing. Benching.
And if I do, I'm gonna be mentioning it, you know I am, and if we were to get more dirt built up around the pool, I can actually add more rocks if I had to. I absolutely had to, made the wall taller. You know, but I just don't.
It's still just gonna wanna go towards that.
Right,
garage,
yeah.
so.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it right here. I mean,
Yeah.
it's no. Yeah. Yeah, anything you can do to slow it. So I mean, number one is you're slowing it down with vegetation. If that doesn't work, then there's probably some physical or mechanical change to do. Terracing or more drainage, but that's where the engineers are gonna come in.
Yeah.
That's what you need. Or this is what we suggest.
The contractor they have these ideas, okay, and they run them by me. I tell them, you know, I don't want to go and do all this stuff. I need the engineer to bless it. So I had to tell these guys not to do some things, but there was a little terracing that went around, that happened here. We kind of built this up a little bit. And then when they built up some dirt along this and it went all the way around, it kind of built like a lip that would guide the water away from the garage. But I don't think it's a permanent solution. I just think it's something else that is not gonna hurt very long.
So if what's supposed to be diverted from here, which direction, how does it affect here? Okay, so he built it up here a little bit to go around, but if it's around the garage, where is it gonna flow? Is it gonna follow the natural vegetative grade and come down this way?
So right now it's set up to either flow down this little hill into the swale, where it's supposed to be, or it's gonna go down to here and go into there.
Okay.
This is uphill this way. It's not gonna go uphill.
Okay.
So anything that comes around the garage, it's gonna go this way. If this gets compromised, this section of the swale, it'll go over the driveway and down. This is another pretty steep hill here before it even gets down to this drainage that's here where the red line is. So. Because that's the way it went during the storm. It compromised all this. This wasn't dug out. There was actually no drainage here at the time. Because we were waiting on the contractor to come back. So it took this route and went over and went like this. And then a lot went down this way, and then there's it got compromised about right here and went over the driveway. But the sediment down here is very minimal. But now there's drainage here and it wraps around. I feel like it's enough at the moment. I mean, that's, we put in a 12-inch culvert right here so I could drive over it. Vented to fit the contour here. So.
And
So comments.
I'm satisfied with what you've done so far. As far as my comments. I think you've done the best you can to put a Band-Aid on it for now and then working with the engineer to get their
Solution.
yeah, more permanent solution. Those would be my comments.
Yeah, I agree. And, we feel that the riskier areas don't involve the neighbor who was disturbed
Right.
previously.
That's what started it all, so.
Yeah.
Andrew?
So, yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's, what you're doing now is your best approach. You're not gonna know anything until spring anyway, so you got time to figure out what that more permanent solution could be, if you need it. I mean, maybe that vegetation slow it enough.
Yeah. So, we'll give our comments and I think we have to fill out the, for the planning board. Yeah, I don't
I
think
think-
I can do that.
I think basically we don't have any concerns about what you've done so far in terms of remediation based on the situation, and I guess as the issue arises, you address it. Over engineering before you get the professional assistance, so at the same time you didn't want to undermine your approach and willingness to address the issues to your neighbor. That is commendable. So I think that moves in your favor, that at least the neighbor at risk.
Right.
It's one thing to not adhere to the guidelines, but at least when you start disturbing your neighbor, that's a whole different story, right? So that has been thing, your immediate house, it's not a risk, it's a garage, not the house. So you are safe. So I guess at this point in time, we would support you working with the engineer to provide a more in-depth and sustainable solution to whatever needs to happen. Hopefully it happens sooner than later so you can sleep. We are expected to fill out this a short environmental assessment form based on what you've done so far, and then this will go back to the planning board with our comments. But just so that you have an answer to leave here today, basically, we just want to respond to you on these issues, understand what you are asking us to do, and be comfortable with our response.
I am. It opens the door for somebody to really. Well, your response opens the door to somebody to really nitpick this thing, right? Which I'm nervous about because this could go in a real big bad direction. It could. I just don't know. We don't know the answer until we have some time. We need to see that vegetation, but I really don't want to do that rock wall. It's going to cut off the whole usage of the hill. But I know that it is an option. I'd rather not keep adding boulder walls, but
I mean, I think our comments are basically that, what you've done and who you've engaged with, we're comfortable with.
Yeah, because we can't give you any direction.
Yeah.
Other than,
We're not gonna recommend a wall or anything like that, at this time. We're just blessing what you have done, right? You're being proactive.
We got the right, we got Scott Herder, right?
Yeah.
That's looking, yeah, so I think you got the right. Town planning. So.
Yeah,
The
but
right
he
person looking at
can
it.
do he can. He's got what's the word? He's got a different. But
yeah,
but I can hire him.
It's already used.
Yeah, that's it. But I can hire him to do the sign and seal plans, which you saw on the screen, which are done, but
He knows what to look for.
yeah.
I would write. Yeah. I can speak those.
So I'm taking his advice and taking colleagues' work, colleagues from my work, their advice, so. I don't know what else I could do. I don't know. So,
You're doing the right things. Yeah. For me, I'd be doing the same. I think you got the right people. You said Labella's looking at it too?
I think.
Town engineer?
I think they represent the town.
Yeah.
They're gonna make a call on what I'm doing is nonsense or if I should do more.
Well, they'll definitely weigh in on the
yeah, we're always gonna defer to them.
mechanical part of it. Yeah, for sure. But.
All right.
Yep.
You're welcome to stay, but I think are you gonna do this?
Yeah,
Or are you
we
gonna
should just
do, all right.
So, will the proposed action create a material conflict in adopted land use or zoning regulations? There's no. The proposed action result in change in use of intensity use of the land. Proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community. No. Proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of critical environmental area.
No, it's not a critical. So no.
The proposed action result in an adverse change in existing level or traffic.
No.
Affect existing, that's a no. Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonable and available energy conservation? No. The proposed action impact existing public-private water pipes. These water pipes, no. The proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources. No. The proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater.
No.
The proposed action resulted in an increase in potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems.
Hopefully you understood.
Yeah.
The proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health. Is that okay?
Good.
Okay, the next item on the agenda. Is the approval of the August 1st and October 3rd minutes. I don't remember. I know Pat wasn't here at the
Yeah,
August 1st, but I think,
I was.
yeah. I reviewed them. I had no comments for either the 1st or October 3rd.
yeah, if we could separate them, because I don't think I was at both, but August 1st, I was definitely there. We weighed in, so
Yeah.
August was Keith, me, Tim, and Andrew. So I make a motion, we approve those.
Second.
All in favor?
And
And October 3rd, you were not there, right?
Right, and I believe
Okay.
So this thing was only you, me, and
And Pat,
Pat.
Keith,
Pat's
I
gonna-
had Tim,
we'll have
yeah,
to table October 3rd.
Who seconded the first one?
I did,
Keith.
because I'm not sharing.
table bar.
Yeah. I think that's it. I mean, no representative from the town. Anything anyone wants to add, or maybe a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion. Meeting adjourned at 7:23.
Yeah. Calendars, am I the only one that didn't do them?